So today I thought I'd do a quick little video on my my onboard air setup. For this, I have the Viair 444C dual compressor pack, and then I store my line right here, and I use these clip-on fittings so that you can just clip it on the tire and then leave it, and you don't have to sit there and hold it on there while you're waiting for it to fill up, which doesn't take too long with this setup, but it's still better than standing there with the chuck right there. So I added a pressure gauge just to see where the pressure is at, and so I can keep an eye on it if I want to. And then here is the solenoid that goes to the front air locker, which is a TJM Pro locker. And then I have a pressure switch, which is 120 off, 90 on. And there's the hookup to it for my hose. And then both of these compressors have check valves in them so that it doesn't bleed back. I just got some cheap manifold off of Amazon, and it's been working well. And then I have some extra hose zip tied here in case something happens to one of my airlines. I added this, which is a little Schrader valve, just in case something happens to the compressor setup and I need air for the trip. I can fill that up at a gas station or something, and that'll keep me locked for the rest of the weekend, and then I can troubleshoot the problem later. Which this line right here goes down into the fender and then comes down under the Jeep and goes into my sliders. I have a T fitting up here, which this is the input, and then it has two outputs on this T right here. This goes to the driver's side slider, that side goes to the passenger side slider, which also there's a spare belt right there, so you know, somewhere to keep things out of the way but have spares. So this hose runs down into here, which goes into the slider. It's just a little pipe fitting welded on. And then I have a drain right there, and then I have a drain on the other slider over here so that I can drain the moisture out, which it doesn't really build up as much condensation as you would think, since most of the time it's drawing air from the air-conditioned cabin, which takes care of a lot of the moisture, because it just intakes through here and through here. But I just have them mounted onto the roll bar using some they call them like light clamps or something like that, which helps isolate the vibration a little bit with the rubber. But it's done pretty well. It is kind of noisy if you're sitting inside of it while it's running, but usually I'm walking around airing up tires, and so it's not too big of a concern for me. I have thought about taking like an air fitting and running an air fitting into here, so that so I don't have to have the trunk open or a door open or whatever while I'm airing up the tires, because I have to have a way for the hose to get outside since my hookup is right there instead of somewhere outside. But that's a future problem. It works, and it's been working for a few years now, so I'm not too concerned about the setup, and you know, it does what it needs to do. It fills my tires, and it keeps the air locker locked. If you have any more questions about it, I can answer them in the comments. I'll try to find most of the links to the stuff that I used in this setup, and I can add them into the description. But it's a fairly simple setup that seems to work pretty well, and I think when I did the math, the tanks hold like a little under 5 gallons of air, which is plenty for anything that I'm doing on the trail, and the tanks, or the compressors, fill the tanks up pretty quick anyway, so it's not a huge concern for me. But if that's of concern, you know, then maybe go with a bigger tank. But that's my air setup. Let me know if you need to know anything more specific about it, or if there's any other parts of my Jeep that you noticed in the build or in the video and want to know more about. Thanks for watching.